Thank you all for tuning in. I'm Selena Marche, and this is the You Plus Happy podcast. Every Tuesday, I bring you someone who challenges us to define happiness and success on their own terms with a dose of laughter. As you can see, we're in a new location for 2025, and I just want to shout out the background may change, but I do want to shout out Hypers Club because that's where I am. It's a really dope spot here in Atlanta, so look it up if you're interested. And remember to subscribe to You Plus Happy podcast on YouTube to stay up to date on the new episodes. You can also follow You Plus Happy on Instagram. Tell your friends to tell your friends to tell your friends. This week we have Don-Dimitri Joseph. He is an Haitian American actor, director, producer, writer that was born in Miami, Florida. His debut directed short film Last Option, where he served as the director, producer, and lead actor. He's currently on the festival circuit, having played at Atlanta Film Festival, Morehouse College Human Rights Film Festival, Charlotte Film Festival, Orlando Film Festival, and more. As an actor, he has credits in shows on major streaming platforms such as HBO, Stars, Paramount Plus, Amazon, and more. His first reoccurring role, he stars as Johnny for the Apple TV show Lady in the Lake opposite Moses Ingram. As a producer, Don-Dimitri Joseph has credits in film festivals ranging from BronzeLens to MoreHouse Film Festival. Having produced over 5 short films, he is currently in pre-production of 3 feature-length films. Dang. Welcome. My first time reading the bio, y'all. Don't tell nobody. I'm gonna get more professional. Welcome to the show, Don.
I appreciate it.
Should I just be calling you Don, or should I be saying Don-Dimitri?
You gotta say Don-Dimitri Joseph.
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 I'm just playing. Just
okay.
I'm just Don is
Okay, I just want to be respectful here.
No, for sure.
And I had the pleasure of seeing Last Option. It's so good.
Thank you.
Can people see it on? Where can they see it?
Yeah. So right now we're doing the festival circuit, so it won't be out until maybe mid 2025.
Okay.
Because we're waiting on a couple more notifications. So once we find out if we get accepted into these festivals or not, then we'll know when to release it.
Okay, perfect. But I did see Last Option, right?
Yeah, you did.
Okay.
Yeah. I believe it was you and Jamie got a firsthand experience with it too when we were at Atlanta, and then also at Rod Newman's event, which was free game.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. All right, I'm jumping in. How did you get started?
How did I get started? Honestly, it's funny because literally it started off in class and school, actually, specifically school. I needed a drama. No, I needed an elective. They put me in drama. Put me in drama 2. I never even took drama 1, and I took the class or whatever. I did not take it serious because I was actually focused on sports. So I was focused on playing basketball, and so I'm taking the class and they put us through exercises. One of the exercises, of course, is they have you lay down on the ground, close your eyes, imagine you are in this scenario. But for me, what I'm doing is I'm just falling asleep because I'm not taking it serious, So it was just like, I don't know, this isn't for me at that time. But we were having an audition at my church, and the audition was for Jesus of Nazareth. And I was like, you know what? I guess I'll audition because a friend asked me if I wanted to. And I was like, sure. And then from there, that's kind of like when the bug for acting started hitting me. Like it was just like doing live theater in front of people and seeing lives change because it was through church too. Like it was just really impacting. So that's really how it all started. Yeah.
What was that? High school, college?
Yeah, that was high school. That was like 12th grade. Yeah, I think 12th grade.
And you've been pursuing it ever since?
I started pursuing it more so when I got in college.
Yeah?
Yeah, because church happened in a couple of years.
What was your major?
I studied business administration and management.
And that's what you graduated in?
Yeah.
Okay.
From FIU.
When you did the play for church, you got the part, right?
Yeah, I got the part. Yeah.
What about it made you feel like I want to do this?
Just seeing the people really take in these moments of us breathing to life these characters, people coming to us at the end of the play and just telling us how much it really impacted them. So I was like, man, this actually could change like people's lives,
Yeah.
not necessarily even for me, but like other people being
Yeah.
impacted by the arts. I was like, wow, yeah, I think this is
But you can
yeah.
help people in so many ways. What is it about acting or making films and entertainment? What about that is like, this is the way I want to go about it?
it it just allows me to connect with people really,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like we're humans, we're souls, and I think in that aspect, that right there, I'm able to just tap into another level of being able to get to this humanity
Hmm.
aspect of everything that we do. Like, I think acting is just doing, it's being, it's you know it's just a reflection of life. And I think when I tap into these characters, I'm bringing my reality and these experiences into it.
Hmm.
So that I'm also bringing other people's stories into it too. And
Hmm.
it's all about stories. So just breathing life into these stories, I think, is just what's so powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you prepare for a role?
Whether it's YouTube, whether it's past experiences or conversations that I just decide to have with people,
Hmm.
I take those into my role preparation. So, like for example, I remember I booked like this construction uh, laborer character
Hmm.
for like this Marvel gig, and I just decided to go to not only a warehouse, but I went to the train track. I went everywhere that I could just start getting information on it because I was like, man, I need to make sure that I'm prepared. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? So I have the mindset of this person, and then knowing, of course, what they do, because I think that's another thing too. Like, I think it's important to know, like, as an actor, what your character does,
Hmm.
and of course, who they are as well. But yeah.
Did you do roles where you didn't prepare? Have you, or if it's like short notice, like, oh, we need you to come in 2 days from now.
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, I think in a way, I feel like I'm kind of like always preparing.
Mm.
Now, sure. There, no, I mean, I've done like some skits, right? Where the skits were like outside of what I'm used to, and I guess I wasn't necessarily fully prepared for that because the skits was also improv too.
Hmm.
And I don't have experience as like a lawyer or anything like that, right? But I mean, I tried to research as much as I can within the time frame that I
Yeah.
had, and I mean, I did a decent job. I think nothing crazy, but it was a comedy too. I think so. Yeah,
Okay.
skits.
What's your favorite genre? Do you have one? Like, would you rather do drama or comedy or action?
Uh,
Or is it about the story?
I love all of it.
Okay.
I love horrors, thrillers,
Yeah.
sci-fi's, psychologicals.
Because I've only seen you in the. What do you call the last option?
That's like a sci-fi comedy.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
what you thought it was?
Sci-fi drama.
For real, you thought it was drama? It's like a quirky.
Yeah, it's quirky for
Yeah,
sure. It's very smart. I really liked it.
appreciate it.
Okay, and I not that it. I don't want to be like what my opinion is everything, but in my opinion, like I think you're a great actor too.
Thank
So
you,
it's like I'm very intrigued of how you prepare and you know what I mean.
thank you.
So, what have been the challenges? Because tricky business.
Challenges. I mean, of course, auditioning sometimes for something that you wish that you could get,
Mhm.
something that you prepared for, something that you actually were really hoping for, knowing that you put in work.
Mhm.
There was this one time I was going through the experience, of course, with my grandma passing away. I was just doing this role, and I was like, man, I'm chipping away at this thing. Like, I'm putting on my heart, soul, everything into it. And I mean, I felt like I did a great job, but fast forward, I didn't get the role. And at that time, I was like, man, I don't know what am I doing with this acting stuff? And I was like contemplating if I wanted to just like let it go.
Mhm.
But I think it's interesting because it's acting. It's more than just those things that you can receive. Because I feel like for me, acting has helped me broaden my life,
Mhm.
right? So like I've learned to understand what it means to operate in my emotions, operate with these feelings that God has blessed me with, and all of us humans. So like I think within acting, there's so many things I've been able to learn and grow in. Because
Mhm.
back then, when I was like in middle school, like if you were to see some of the videos I had, like me doing like film reviews, I was so monotone. That movie was so good. Wow.
The end.
The end. Like it was crazy. So like
Yeah.
with acting, when that came along in my life, it just helped me to broaden more in terms of emotions and all that stuff. So it's gonna have its ups and downs, and of course ebbs and flows. But yeah, I mean, in any profession, you're gonna have challenges, right?
For sure. When you have your doubt, when you were in that space, when you were doubting, what brought you to the other side? It's like, no, I'm gonna keep doing this.
Faith, faith in what God has told me, really showed me to
Mm-hmm.
keep doing with this art. Because ever since the beginning, it was always about others.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't necessarily even about myself. Like I love this, but I know that the stories that we have that we want to tell can really impact people. You
Mm-hmm.
know, so that's why I love being a filmmaker too. Director, so I get opportunity to just help others.
Mm-hmm.
Not even necessarily the viewer, but bringing together a team. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I
For
love bringing
sure.
people together. So
What made you do? I know sometimes we have to, but what made you do the behind the scenes stuff? I know you write, but the directing, the producing, and to keep doing that.
well, really, when it comes to like the writing and everything, somebody asked me like, do I write because I have to or because I love it? And I told them I was like, I do it because of both.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Not that many opportunities are always being presented to me,
Mm-hmm.
right? So
Mm-hmm.
then I know I have to write these opportunities. I have to be able to create it, um, to be able to not only just open up the doors for myself but for others too. But when it comes to the whole behind the scenes process, um, producing was always there because, like I mentioned, I always just love bringing people together,
Yeah.
finding locations, putting the pieces together, solving the puzzle. Um, and that was something that I feel like helped me in terms of like getting to this place where I am as a director too.
Mm-hmm.
Because the funny thing is, the last option really, it's my official first short film that I've directed. I did a mini short
Mm-hmm.
called Come Home,
Okay.
and I did that because I was like, yo, if I'm really gonna step into this chair as a director, I want to make sure that I can shoot something by myself to make sure I understand what it is that I'm communicating to others.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
As a leader, I want to make sure that like, hey, I'm not gonna ever ask you to do something that I wouldn't really be willing to do
Mm-hmm.
myself.
Mm-hmm.
So I would do sound, I would do the editing, I would do coloring, I would do the sound design, whatever it was. I wanted to make sure that I implemented myself so that like when I cast vision,
Mm-hmm.
people could understand and grasp it too, and that they would see that Don is willing to get in the trenches. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah. For
really
sure.
to get into the mud. So, um, yeah, I just love behind the scenes. Yeah.
Which one would you choose, acting or behind the scenes, if you had to?
If I had to,
I
it's
don't want to
hard.
stress
That's
you
hard.
out. You don't really have to make this decision. No,
I don't know because I love both. I love
yeah.
both.
I had a chance to be behind the scenes recently. I really like it.
Yeah.
Way more than I thought I would.
Well,
Before I forget, I did want to mention the stat about, well, the last options. Not to like keep pushing it, but it was in the Atlanta Film Festival,
yeah.
and you said they only take what percentage?
I mean, shoot, it's like a 2% chance of getting in because like you get they receive over 7,000 submissions, and that's a lot, and they only select about 140 or so, so that's like a 2% chance.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, shout out to the Atlanta Film Festival. Uh, I think what they do is so amazing,
Mm-hmm.
and they don't they don't owe us anything. They didn't even know who we were. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And
Right.
I'm just like super thankful that they valued what we had in the story that we wanted to tell.
Yeah.
And shout out to my friend AJ Fitzgerald. He wrote the film, and we're just developing it to something more and bigger. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
I just wanted to point that out so people know, like, if they, even if they, I mean, they obviously haven't seen it, but the quality of work you're putting out. And there was another reason I wanted to shout that out. But anyway, that's a big deal.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it. And shout out to the team too that
Yeah.
came together to tell this story. None of us knew what festivals we would get into. We just knew that we wanted to tell this story.
Yeah.
We knew that we wanted to make a film together, and in making this film together, some really great things came after. We enjoyed the process, and then of course the fruit of the labor was beautiful.
And also, you were, if I'm remembering correctly, you were strategic about what festivals you submitted to,
For
right?
sure. Yeah.
So you had a plan. You weren't
Yeah. Yeah.
just throwing. I mean, I'm not saying that there's like different ways to approach it, but you were strategic.
Yeah.
What were some of the things that you thought about when you were like, "Oh, I'm going to submit to this festival versus this festival"?
Yeah, I mean, I created a Google Excel sheet,
Mm-hmm.
and then I just ordered everything. You know what I'm saying? I think for filmmakers out there, one of the best things that you can do is uh, have a document where you're ordering everything. Everything's in order, and you want to also go on filmfreeway.com, which has all the film festivals on there. Well, most of them, about 90% or so, and you find out the deadline submission dates.
Mm-hmm.
You put it that copy and paste it into the Excel sheet. Know
Mm-hmm.
that when your early deadline is, your regular, late, and extended, of course, and then of course you put the price, the fee in the Excel sheet as well. So you just have that all ordered so that you can know when you need to submit your film. So
Mm-hmm.
that was one of the most, I think, proactive things that I did in terms of film festival strategic aspect of it.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's important because it's so much out there to look up and to search and like, and you, especially if it's your first short film, you
Yeah,
probably can't uh, submit to all of
yeah,
them.
yeah, exactly.
So it's being like, wait, what's the best for you?
And another thing too, it's also reaching out to those film festival programmers and
Mm,
asking, is it possible to receive a waiver or any type of discount fee?
mm-hmm.
And of course, be professional and be nice, in your approach in that email, because yeah, people remember you, of course. You know what I'm saying,
Yeah,
and you just want to be a nice person, I think. So
yeah.
yeah.
And I had the privilege of going to the Atlanta Film Festival, not this year, last year, and I saw a lot of the films. They were so like
Yeah.
in my opinion, they were so good. So to
Yeah.
be in that bunch is like
Yeah.
amazing, you know.
They curate so many great films.
They really do. What do people? Because sometimes I'm imagining you're casting, you're directing, all that. When you're working with folks, what qualities do they have to have? What's some red flags or green flags?
Yeah, I mean, um,
Because there's so many
red.
talented people.
Yeah,
So
so many
that's the
talented people. Yeah,
baseline. That's the
yeah.
baseline.
The
All right, they're
talent is,
talented.
yeah, of course.
So beyond the talented part.
Yeah. Uh, it's really just I love working with people that I know. I love working with people that I've worked with before.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I love working with people that I know that are going to deliver. Also for somebody who's bringing somebody else on,
Mm-hmm.
I trust that they trust that person. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it's just relinquishing certain things and just being able to be like, yo, I believe that, this is going to work out. And it's also just based off of conversations too, because the conversations that I've had with like friends like Solomon or Jeffrey, who was our grip and gaffer for the last project we just did called Heart to See. It was just me letting them know what this project's about. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then we just had conversations, and from these conversations, we all just decided to come together to tell this story too.
Mm-hmm.
So, um, of course, I think it's, do you get along with the person? You
Mm-hmm.
know, are they respectful of other people? Um, yeah, and then just trusting God. For me, it's me personally, it's trusting God throughout everything, really.
Yeah, yeah. What do you do when you realize, oh, this might not be a good fit, and you have to cut ties
Thank God I've never been there before.
because you already did all the work on the front end?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. I've never been there, and I don't think I ever really will be.
Okay.
I mean, who knows down the line what can happen, but yeah, I think having worked with people that I know that are great and that are cool people and that are
Mm-hmm.
good people, that
Yeah.
I'm like, yo, like we gonna make this work and it's gonna be good.
Yeah. Because in this industry, entertainment in the entertainment biz, you hear like people getting burnt and stuff like that.
Yeah,
So how? What are those? What are they? What are? I mean, of course, trusting. Because I think for me, it's like trusting my gut, my
yeah,
intuition, which I think is God, telling me what to do, and I listen.
yeah.
But what are some green flags?
Green
Like,
flags.
or is it just a trust, like just a feeling?
Um, the conversations that you're having, really,
Okay.
you know.
Yeah.
Um, the way they treat people, you know. Um, yeah, it's just I think not to say that I like observe every single thing, but I
Mm-hmm.
think uh yeah, when we're in public or different places, yeah, we see how everybody interacts with each other, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's just picking up on those things too.
Yeah.
And like I'm like, okay, yeah, this person really treats this person. If you could treat literally, there's a saying, if you could treat the janitor the same way you treat the president, like yo, like that's it. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
everybody just deserves respect, you know. And I think I've been blessed to work with people that are respectful of others,
Mm-hmm.
and we value each other's ideas.
Yeah.
Value each other's input.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm not the person to turn away an idea. Let me hear what you got to say. Yeah, this,
Okay.
talk about it. Let's hash it out, whatever the case may be.
Okay. You're being very open.
Yeah.
Okay. Outside of, because like I keep saying the biz, but this is like it can be. It's not a typical 9 to 5, so it can take up
Yeah,
a lot of your time,
for
right?
sure.
Who are you outside of the business, and how do you keep yourself? You seem grounded and sane, or or just have a life outside of this. Because
Yeah,
I've gotten lost before in this,
gotcha.
and like, and I'm sure I'm not the only one. In anything you do, you love
Sure.
it so much, but I've found that there has to be some kind of balance,
Yeah.
or things can go. That's not good.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. For sure.
So who are you outside of it? What do you do to stay okay?
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of things, right? For me, I mean, I go to church.
Mm-hmm.
I got married to my wife
Mm-hmm.
in June this year. So, yeah, I have people around me who also aren't just actors that I can, enjoy life with.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think it's knowing my identity, right? My
Mm-hmm.
identity isn't in acting. I am thankful for acting. I am thankful for the opportunities that have been able to happen through acting. I'm thankful for the places I've been able to go so far with the acting, but that's not who I am. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I am identified by the fact that God paid a price for me,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm here because of Him. And there's purpose even outside of the acting. You know what I'm saying? Because it's so interesting. When I first moved out here years ago, about like 5 years ago or so, I didn't receive an audition for about like 6 months. I was like, yo, what's going on? Like, I had my materials, I had everything. I didn't receive an audition for 6 months, but I was going my job, doing um, construction and all that other stuff, right? And it was so interesting that I was going through that drought. But in a way, for me, it was more so God showing me what He is to me more so than what He can provide for me. And then at the same time, months later, that's when COVID happened. So COVID shut down everything.
Mm-hmm.
But I already went through a drought. So that by the time when COVID happened, I was okay. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
For a lot of people, they weren't. You know what I'm saying? They were
Mm-hmm.
they were they were in shambles.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, if we can learn from the past, we'll definitely be better in the present and the future. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like for example, like with the strike, when that happened, like you should have learned kind of from the COVID experience
Mm.
without having the opportunity to be in like TV shows and films.
Mm-hmm.
You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying?
What did you do? What did you do during the strike?
um, During the strike, I was writing, spending time with my girlfriend, fiance at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I was enjoying life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, how long can you go without being creative?
Um, I feel like I'm in a place where I'm always creative in a way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like even if it's like me not necessarily acting, I there are times where I was just writing music, you know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Coming up with lyrics. Um where I was trying to come up with different types of sketches or
Yeah.
editing and then sometimes even shooting cuz Sundays I would shoot for my church, you know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? So I was
Yeah.
always in a way doing something in the element of art uh or creativity. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Because I feel like as a creative, if I go too long without creating something, I don't feel like myself.
Gotcha.
So it's like
Gotcha.
it's a huge. It's a like I have
It's
to do.
innate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like I have to.
Yeah.
Um, what do you hope people say about you when you're not in the room?
I mean, hopefully nothing bad. I mean,
Okay.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, hopefully I've been cool to them and just been a good human being towards them that
Yeah.
they would have good things to say, but at the same time, I can't ever uh, dictate how somebody's going to respond to me. You know, so
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Because I imagine a lot, when we're always talking about people when they're not in the room in this business, not in a bad way, but just
yeah,
like, oh, I'm thinking about this person for this, I'm thinking about this person for
yeah.
that. How do you deal with? How do you? How are you in the situation where you're meeting like big time people in the business? Do you get intimidated? Do you get nervous?
Uh, Not completely, no, because sometimes as an actor, you have to act opposite them. You know, and it's just like,
Ah,
yeah, this is another human being. This is another person who most likely has been in a position where I am in terms of starting off, where they've
mm,
been doing their co-stars and now they've gone on to be a superstar. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
And I just remember there was one time I was in New York. This was about 6 to 8 years ago, and I'm in New York. This is a time when Denzel Washington is doing um, Iceman Cometh
Mm-hmm.
on Broadway, and I was planning on going to see the show. So I had a friend of mine who was also having a play on that same night I was gonna go. And
Mm-hmm.
I was telling her, I was like, hey, you know what? Let me go support you. She was like, no, you said you're gonna go watch Denzel Washington. Go watch Denzel Washington.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, you sure? She's like, yeah. And I was like, you know what? I appreciate you. So that morning I ended up going to try to get a ticket to
Uh-huh.
the Broadway show to get like a rush ticket.
Okay.
So a rush ticket basically you can get for a cheaper price
Mm-hmm.
and you'll be like in the mezzanine area. I go to the theater. It's in the morning. I get there. Nobody's in the box office. So I'm like, dang, what am I gonna do now? But the door to the theater is open. So I said, all right, I guess I'm gonna walk through and just go to the theater.
Mm-hmm.
I walk inside the theater. It's pitch black. Lights are down. Some lights are on. I see some actors acting on stage. You see Austin Butler, who just played Elvis not too long ago. He's on stage with so many other great actors. And I'm just like, yo, this is crazy. This is happening. And fast forward, everybody else, once they're done with their rehearsing, they go backstage. But I hear a familiar voice. It's Denzel Washington. He comes out on stage.
Mm-hmm.
And after he's done doing his part, he goes and sit down in the front row. I say to myself, I don't know the next time I'm gonna see him. I might as well go say what's up.
Right.
So I went to go say what's up to him. And he put his hand out and then I don't remember what exactly he asked me, but I just really got to, say thank you for the work that he's been able to do
Yeah.
and whatnot. But it's funny because later on, like some general manager, I think, came to me and was like, "Hey, how may I help you? Are you supposed to be here?" I was like, "Nah, I tried to come and get a ticket, but nobody was there." So,
Mm-hmm.
so eventually she walked me back out. Somebody eventually was there, and I got the last ticket to watch the show. So
Wow.
that was a great experience in New York, and first time in New York. So that was cool.
Wow.
That's cool.
Was the show good?
Show was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Show was phenomenal. Till this day, I remember some stuff Denzel was doing on stage that I was just like, "Yo, this is crazy." And
Yeah.
it's so crazy. It felt like a movie because when an intermission during the play, the production show, I'm going to the bathroom, and as I'm going to the bathroom, as I'm leaving the bathroom, John Bernthal is in line. He just gives me a head nod. I just give him a head nod back. I'm like, "Yo, what's up, man?" So Punisher, if y'all don't know, John Bernthal, phenomenal actor. He was also in King Richard, but yeah, he was a cool dude
Wait,
too.
why did he hand nod you?
He just said, "What's up?" You know, he was just like, "Yo, what's up?" Like,
Did that make you feel special?
I don't know. I was just like, "Man, this man cool, man. This man's cool, man."
When I get acknowledged for people I respect or know, whatever, I'm like, I'm making it, y'all. No, that's not what it means.
That was just a cool moment.
Yeah, no, very, very cool. When shifting a bit, I don't know, did I ask you this already? How do you deal with failures?
Um, I gotta move forward.
Mm-hmm.
I can't sit and wallow in it. I just know something is around the corner. Um, how do I deal with it? I surround myself with what I need, and that's my faith in Jesus. That's going to church. That's spending time with my wife. That's
Mm-hmm.
spending time with my friends. That's, you know, uh, getting in my Bible. yeah, I try not to let that stuff get to me, really, because I'm just trying to think of what's next. Because, like, for example, I apply for different types of grants, I apply for different types of, programs and whatnot,
Mm-hmm.
but you get those emails and they tell you, unfortunately, no.
Yeah.
So I think um, in life, really, is how you move forward, right? Because we're
Mm-hmm.
always gonna get those no's. We're gonna get the you're not the right fit for this or
Mm-hmm.
whatever, and so on and
Mm-hmm.
so forth. So yeah, how do you deal with those moments that just bring you to the right place? Because everything, I feel like, not necessarily everything, but things are working together in your favor. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Tracking you along the journey. So yeah,
That's what I try to do. It's not always easy in the moment, but remind myself that this is working out for me,
yeah,
even though it might be considered a failure in the moment. Um, all things work together for good or whatever.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
so
yeah,
I really do. I genuinely believe that.
yeah.
But then sometimes in the moment, I'm like, what?
I'll tell you a story that just happened recently. Literally, like I was a friend of mine lets me know about this audition that was happening
Mm-hmm.
for a show that's about to be like distributed on like either a major platform. Fast forward, I go and I audition for them in person, and they were telling me this is what the schedule will look like. Now, with that schedule, I was like, man, I can't afford to do it right now because I need these hours at work and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I had some things planned throughout the weekend already that were very important to do. So I will say I'm thankful I didn't get the role because I was still able to do the very things that I needed to do that weekend. And I made the connection that I needed to while
Mm,
doing the audition. So even though I didn't get the role,
yeah.
I still made connections. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And there are different connections throughout the other stuff that I've been able to audition for that till this day are helping me get better as a filmmaker, as a writer, as a
Mm-hmm.
artist.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, for
So
sure.
yeah,
Do you have an agent?
I do, I do.
How did
Yeah.
you get your? How? When I think when I met you, you didn't have one yet. Maybe a year and a half ago.
No, no, I was with one. That's how I was booking. Yeah,
Oh, were you
yeah.
trying? Were you trying to get a different one?
I think I was trying to get a manager at the
Okay,
time.
that's what it was.
Yeah,
Okay, I knew it was something.
yeah. I had an agent.
Okay, how did you get your manager? Did you get one?
Yeah, I did. I did.
Okay, how
Yeah.
did you get your manager?
So for my manager, really it was just email. Google.
Okay.
Sometimes I will say, man, Google can be your best friend,
Mm,
right? All you have to do is just go on there and type in whatever region or area you're trying to
mhm.
find that
Mhm.
manager in, and then type in manager. So, for example, Atlanta talent manager,
Mhm.
and it'll give you different, managers that are here in Atlanta or that rep Atlanta, or you can go on IMDb Pro, of course,
Mm.
and search that up too, and then just order it in the meter rankings and all that stuff, and just find their emails, start submitting.
Same for agent.
Same for agent websites. Sometimes with the website, well, so both of them, right? Agents and managers, a lot of times they will have their own website too.
Uh huh.
And when it comes to them having their own website, they'll have the instructions on whether or not they're taking in, new talent. And then sometimes it'll be industry referral only,
Mhm.
so on and so forth. But usually it's listed.
Yeah. How important do you think a manager is?
I think your manager is important because sometimes the manager can help you get a new agent or help you get an agent in a different market.
Mm.
Manager can help you manage your career,
Mhm.
help you align certain things that you're trying to get to where you want to get.
Mhm.
So I think a manager is important, and I'm thankful for the manager that I do have. Yeah.
Yeah. Anything to be what should you look for when you're looking for a manager besides like the obvious stuff like what you just mentioned, but
So it's interesting when it came to my manager. I had it. So the week when I had solidified things with my manager, that week I had meetings with probably three other managers, and a couple months before I had a meeting with a manager. And it's so interesting that the first manager that I had a meeting with, I thought I was going to sign with, and I was eventually going to sign my contract, which I actually did. I signed my contract. I sent it. But I actually sent it to myself, which was kind of crazy,
right.
which I thought was like, wow. because of course then things would have been tied in and we would have been ready and set to go. But fast forward, the manager I ended up signing with was the best one for me.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why I say she was the best one for me is because there were certain questions. Because I think you want to enter a meeting with questions, right? You want to have questions that you can ask because they're going to ask you stuff too,
Yeah.
right? So you want to have things that you can ask them. And it's so funny because in the previous meetings with different managers, I was asking them certain questions, but with my last one, she was already answering the questions before I even asked them.
Mm-hmm.
So it was interesting that she was already in alignment with the things that I already knew that I wanted to ask.
Mm-hmm.
The other ones weren't in that place for me.
Mm-hmm.
Now, of course, the other ones too decided that they didn't necessarily need me, right, on their roster, and it all worked out for my good.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
that's that, like, circling back to, like, that's an example of uh, things not working out but working out because you sending an email to yourself. What? Beautiful mistake, right?
Crazy.
Dang. When stuff like that happens, I need that kind of stuff to happen. That kind of stuff happens pretty regularly. But every time I'm like a kid, it feels like magic.
Yeah.
Like, it's, I know it's not, I know, but it's like, look how this look how this came together.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, you really just got to show up and do the work, and it all comes together. And that's like the most fascinating thing about life to me. Yeah. One of the most, I think it is the most fascinating. Yeah. And how do you know you're making the right decision?
Sometimes I don't necessarily know if I'm making the right decision, but I trust that I am guided and God is directing every step that I'm taking. So, yeah, I try not to think about it too much because I pray beforehand, right?
Uh-huh.
And within my prayer time and whatnot, I'm just moving forward. And there are certain decisions, of course, that I may have to take time on, right?
Yeah.
And there are certain decisions that I may have to talk to my wife about, right? And those that are really close to me before I take a step forward. So yeah, I think when it comes to if I know I'm doing something right, I usually, I guess I'll find out because there are certain things where I thought it was gonna go one way and it didn't go that way, and I thought I was doing the right thing, but I really wasn't. So like, yeah, I don't know. Sometimes it's a toss up. Okay. Yeah.
Because I know I've definitely had analysis by paralysis. Like, or is it paralysis by analysis? Whatever. Just overthinking and not doing anything.
Yeah.
And that's like, in hindsight, I realized like that's the worst way to go. Take your time, but not like just frozen.
Yeah, you can't be frozen.
Yeah. And it sounds like you have a good support system around you that can help you make these decisions or see things in a different way.
Yeah.
So that sounds like an important part.
And I will say there are times where I haven't even where I messed up by not necessarily taking the time, right?
Yes.
There have been those moments where I haven't taken the time that I needed and I should have, you know? And at the same time, there are times where I should have gone to those that I do know are in my best interest.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I just didn't.
Yeah.
That's happened.
For sure. I've definitely I try to make decisions by myself and with like the quiet time, and I'm an Excel sheet.
Gotcha.
Like when you mentioned the Excel sheet for the festivals, I'm like, because when I decided to move here, I had a spreadsheet.
Oh wow!
I wrote all the things I needed. I wrote the cities, all this stuff, and I moved to the city that had the highest score, and it was Atlanta, and it's been great. So I'm a big proponent for these Excel sheets and a chart or something.
I hear you.
I think they're very, very helpful.
They are.
Okay. What's your definition of success? That's what the whole show is about.
Yeah. My definition of success. I think I answered this question too over at a free game, and I think literally it's moving in the direction that God has showed me. You know, I feel like right now I'm in that position where, I am successful, right? Like I am thankful that I have a healthy marriage. I am thankful and I'm successful in this fact that I have a loving community around me. You
Mm-hmm.
know, now of course there are things that I wish I can have, but that I don't have. But at the same time, it doesn't mean I'm not successful. It doesn't mean I don't have, and I'm content where I am. So
Mm-hmm.
I think for me, yeah, success is the equivalent of all of those things that God has already just blessed me with.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and yeah,
How does God show you your path?
what you mean? Like,
So you said like going in the this might not
yeah,
exactly
yeah,
point
yeah,
going in the direction that God shows
yeah,
you.
yeah,
How
yeah.
does He show you?
So for me, when it's come to prayer, there are times where I'm journaling,
Uh-huh.
and there are times, of course, where I'm reading my Bible, where I know certain things have been placed on the inside that I know I'm taking the right steps forward to.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then, of course, like I guess I could use marriage as an example. Um, when it comes to being married to the woman that I'm with, that right there was a blessing and is a blessing from God. You know,
Mm-hmm.
now of course, certain things it's in its timing. And I think for me, when it came to this relationship that I was blessed with, before I was in this relationship, I had to take the time to go to God, right? I had to take the time to just trust and know that there is a woman for me. And within that, I was able to receive it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, for example, with other things, there are certain promises that God has blessed us with, as God that God has promised us, but then it's also knowing and waiting to receive it. I look at it like the story of Abraham, like he was promised a son, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, the thing is, he had to wait for it, you know, and then eventually it came,
Mm-hmm.
and then descendants and everything else. But yeah,
Okay. And how do you stay? You seem like a person of, what is it, high integrity, a good person. How do you? I don't know, but
yeah,
it
yeah,
seems
yeah,
that way. How
I
do you
appreciate
stay
it.
that way? Because there's so much noise, or just like even people being jerks, or somebody cutting you off in traffic, or doing something bad.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like,
for
how
sure.
do you maintain that integrity and and your dignity? Does this question make sense?
Yeah, no, the question makes sense, but I am gonna say though, like I've been on the road and I've caught like cut somebody off before, so
I have
you know what
too.
I'm saying. So
But you know what I mean? People be, there's different kind of drivers that,
no, for
you know
sure.
what I mean?
For there are drivers that pull guns out on people. So
That's
yeah, for
true.
sure. I ain't that type of driver.
No. So how do you, so you're saying, no, I'm not always,
I'm not a perfect person, you know
no,
what I'm
no,
saying?
no.
None of us are. But I think um the main proponent for me is my faith. Is knowing that like what God has instructed me
Mm-hmm.
to do, that I would walk in it, you know? And at
Yeah.
the same time it's like it's just like I think about people, and I believe every person is of value.
Mm.
And I think if I know everyone is of value, then I'm going to treat them with value. You
Yeah.
know, I want to
Yeah.
be able to look at people in the lens that Jesus looks at them, because I believe that Jesus died for all of us. If
Uh-huh.
he died for all of us, then everybody, you know, has a reason and a purpose as to why they're here. And if I can walk in knowing that God loves these people, right? Or people and loves me, then I can love people too, you
Mm-hmm.
know?
Mm-hmm.
And I should walk in honesty, integrity, of course, and valor and all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. And valuing. I really like that. Valuing other people. I didn't think about it in those terms. Okay. All right. We're I have two more questions and then
Cool.
we'll be done.
This was fun. This is fun.
Good. Okay. What's They're like very similar, but
Okay.
what's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
Best piece of advice I've ever received. One of them I will say is, don't make a decision when your emotions are high.
Mm,
So don't make a decision based off of a very great moment. and don't make a decision off of a very terrible or low moment.
Yeah. Yeah.
My pastor was able to share that with me, and I thought that was really helpful, because I was just going through it at the time, and he was just telling me, yeah, when when emotions are high, you want to just make sure you take the time that you need before you make a decision, because you don't want to jeopardize or ruin anything that shouldn't have been jeopardized or ruined. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So you just sit still for a little while.
You may have to sit still. You may have to just go take some time to pray. You may have to go take some time to walk. You may need some water. You may need just something to be able to get out of that mind frame. Pause, reflect. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like, for example, like, say um, you get the call of a lifetime and you want to go tell everybody, but they tell you, hey, you can't tell nobody. But you tell somebody and it's gone. And they find out that you told and it's gone. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So don't make a decision right away after something great has happened. You know what I'm saying?
I'm glad you said that, because we always hear like don't make decisions when you're in a bad space, but it's equally important to not make any decisions when you're at the height either. Not any decisions, but
yeah. You can win the lotto and you want to go buy 10 cars.
Right.
You want to go buy a mansion.
Yeah.
It probably want to be the best thing that you do right away. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You may want to calculate what's going to cost. You may want to calculate how you're going to actually invest this money. You know, think about it. So,
yeah. And I like the simplicity of what you said too. Like you might just need to drink some water. You might need to just go for a walk. The guy who started the company that I work for, that's very successful. He started it in his home. Nice. He said simple, like it was simple things like drink water, taking your vitamins, like to stay level headed.
Those vitamins are good.
And go for walks. And I'm a big supplement person, but the lady at the vitamin shop knows me. Like she knows me. I'm big on that. But those simple things, like I think when you're in these heightened emotions, you don't remember that they work. You know?
Yeah.
It's just remembering, like
literally. Yeah.
Go for a walk.
Yeah.
Drink some water. Are you hydrated?
Yeah.
These little things, things that seem so simple.
Yeah. And I think, another thing too, when it comes to advice, I take a lot of advice from the Bible, and I look at people's examples of the lives that they lived through the Bible and things that I can learn for myself. So I look at it from like this perspective of Jesus and his disciples. Jesus feeds 5,000 plus people. His disciples witness it. They see it. Next time they're in the same predicament, same position with over 5,000 people or so. They asked Jesus, where are we going to find the bread and all this to feed them? And it was just like, all you had to do was remember that he did it before. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, so it's like sometimes me personally, I need to remember what God has already done in the past, knowing that he can do it in the present and the future.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Even this is way not way different, but I read this book. It's like a book of like quick quotes or something. And it was like when you're looking at your to-do list and you feel overwhelmed, look at your to-done list.
Gotcha.
And that's kind of similar to, we're not God, but you know what I mean.
But the things that you've already done, the things you've already accomplished.
You can do it.
You can do it.
Because you already did all of this stuff. So just go look at your to-done list. I think about that a lot.
Gotcha.
Okay. And my last question is very, 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 very similar. But what piece of advice would you give listeners if they want to do, or about anything, but if they want to do what you're doing?
I mean, I guess do it, because literally when it comes to the producing aspect of it, of filming, I decided, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do this with my friends, and we're going to go ahead and tell these stories. We're not going to wait on people to tell us that we can tell these stories. A lot of times we're just waiting and we're hoping and we're, just wishing that somebody would choose us, when in fact you don't have to necessarily do that. Right? You have the ability to go out there, wrangle up some people, and tell this story, because we all have stories that we need to tell. We all have stories that we know somebody needs to tell. And I think when it comes to this aspect and this thought of just doing it, you have to just take initiative. And whatever it is that you may be scared of, know that fear is just temporary. Fear it's a temporary thing. It's not a eternal thing. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You can't live your life in fear. You can't live your life in anxiety. You can't live your life in these disappointed feelings,
Yeah.
because you won't ever really accomplish anything. You're
Right.
just gonna keep on waiting and looking at time fly by. I say this as an example. A lot of times nowadays, it's like for the last option film we did.
Mm-hmm.
If we didn't make this film, a lot of us really wouldn't have this on our resume now.
Mm-hmm.
We wouldn't have been able to experience the Atlanta Film Festival.
Mm-hmm.
We wouldn't have been able to be a part of the 2%
Mm-hmm.
and the other festivals we've been able to get into. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But because we decided to do it, we've been able to experience some great things from just doing it.
Yeah.
So you never know on the other side of what it's going to look like of your yes,
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Yeah, we say that a lot on this show. Like I do most, I'm almost scared all the time, but I still do it.
Just gotta do it.
I wouldn't say scared like scary, but just I'm intimidated a lot, or like, oh my, because it's the unknown.
Yeah.
But just working, like, just do it with the fear.
Yeah.
I think it's so important. But it sounds like too that you have some really great people around you that you could go and do the work with, that were able to do it. And then really quickly, when I first started like pursuing acting, it was at a time before, we're in this beautiful time where we all, not all, but we can pretty much get our hands on a camera. We can pretty much get our hands, and especially when you network and stuff, you can get your hands on almost anything you need to do a film. It might cost a little bit, but when I was starting, it wasn't like that. Like I had a BlackBerry. Wasn't nobody shooting a movie on a BlackBerry that I know of. I wouldn't recommend it. So it was a different time, and it was so much desperation in the pursuit. And so now it's this time where we're going to pursue these opportunities and these bigger things, but we can also create in the meantime. And then you also get to learn so much. I would have never thought of directing something or producing something before this time. So and Google being your best friend, you can Google anything. YouTube University.
Yep.
We have so many. I think about like gratitude a lot, and I think about there's some. This can be a rough time if you look at everything, but it's also a beautiful time because the resources available to us are just like no other time before. Walking around with these things that can tell us, with the phones that can tell us anything. So take advantage. I'm just saying that for the listeners, like take advantage of all the resources. If you're watching this, you can make a movie.
You can. Like, the phone in your hand is capable of making a movie. A filmmaker by the name, I believe, Sean Baker. I mean, he made a movie with his cell phone and went on to Sundance and just, just changed the game. You know what I mean? So it's like, what are you limiting yourself by not just taking that step? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And finish strong.
Yeah.
Finish strong, because there's so many ideas. It's so easy, and sometimes it's easy to get started, but then seeing it through is another thing.
That's another thing for sure.
Yeah,
you just gotta see it through.
See it through.
You got to.
It might be some speed bumps.
Yeah.
But see it through.
That's true.
You anything else?
Not necessarily that comes to my mind. But I think this was really great. Thank you for having me.
Sure.
This was a good time.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah.
Did I cut you off?
No, not at all.
And this, like I said, this is the new location, y'all. So we had a little bit of a soundtrack outside with the cars I didn't know about. But thanks for bearing with us. And I'll figure out the sound, I promise. I'm gonna close this out. Let me get to my handy dandy outro. Thank you again, Don-Dimitri Joseph. Did I say it right?
I was joking, but hey, I'll take it though.
Thank you, Don, for sharing your time with me and inspiring listeners to redefine success for themselves. You can find out more about Don
on Instagram, Don-Dimitri Joseph. If you want to follow our Last Option page, it's on Instagram, Twitter, Last Option Film, new short film, Heart to See film, and we plan on releasing the film again in next year, around like middle of next year. So yeah,
next year will be in 2025, right?
2025.
So this year, when this airs, is 2025.
Oh yeah. 2025. This year. This few weeks. Yes, that's so crazy.
I know, and I'll put the link to Don's page in the show notes, so check those out. And thank you, listeners, for tuning in. Again, I ask that you subscribe to the U Plus Happy channel.
Subscribe.
It helps the channel grow, and I can keep doing this, and it can get better and better. And I won't have a soundtrack outside for sound. And I ask the guests to say the tagline, which is, "We'll show you our definition of success if you show us yours."
We'll show you our definition of success if you show us yours.
We did it. Thank y'all so much for listening. Thank you, Don.
Thank you. Thank you.